We're back. Another episode of the Golden V podcast. It is Monday, August 3rd, BC Day, statutory holiday in British Columbia. But beginning tomorrow, the real season kicks off for the Western Lacrosse Association as the four teams who qualified for the WLA playoffs, the WLA semifinals, start tomorrow. And I'm bringing a returning guest of mine and friend. Earl had helped me in the past with, amongst other things, some earlier seasons when we were doing Vancouver Warriors previews. How are you, Earl?
Really good. Yeah, I've enjoyed looking into the Victoria and Nanaimo series. That's for sure.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you and I went to some games this year, obviously in Burnaby, to see a few different teams, and we saw Nanaimo play in Burnaby.
Yeah.
And I said to you at the time, I can't remember when that was, May or June, how much I thought vastly improved that Nanaimo Timberman team was, based on the way they were last year. So they finished fourth overall in the WLA standings to qualify for the semifinals against the Victoria Shamrocks. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, the last game they played Victoria, they only lost by a goal. It was 9-8. Victoria scored their winning goal at 16:39 of the third period.
Right.
They lost all three games.
Right.
And that was the closest game.
Okay.
There's stats that say they should take this whole series, sweep it. But there's other things that say not so. I mean, it all depends on how Nanaimo plays, because they do have a good penalty kill. They haven't got a terrible power play, like it's 25%.
Right.
And they've had, I found out recently by going into the Nanaimo Timberman website, getting an interview with Dan Marshall and Chris Bowman, the president.
Yeah.
And the reason Ryan Sheridan hasn't played many games this year, he's got a lot of points when he has played. He's been injured, but they kept it really tight-lipped. They didn't say he was injured, didn't say what it was. They're wanting him ready for the playoffs.
Okay.
And he is a big presence, that's for sure.
Yeah.
In 2 games, he got 4 goals and 3 assists. And then in the next game, he got 4 goals and 1 assist. And he picked up a second star in that last game, the 9-8 game that they lost.
Right.
I've got some stats of when they played last in the playoffs. In 2018, the Shamrocks won the series 4-1. Okay. Now, in that 2018 clash, it was exceptional, notable, because it marked the first postseason series between those two teams in 61 years.
Wow.
So
quite the history.
They haven't played a lot in the playoffs, but they are a big rivalry, that's for sure.
Okay. Because I was looking at some stuff too, right? And obviously Victoria, again, like 2024, is the top team in the WLA. They finished at 16-2. And I was looking at some past things on Twitter. You've got some information on who the award winners are for each team of those 4 teams, and that is Victoria Shamrocks, Maple Ridge Burrards, Coquitlam Adanacs, and the Nanaimo Timbermen. What can you share about, obviously, the season that the Shamrocks had?
Yes, the stats for the Shamrocks are impressive. They had a 7-game winning streak. They averaged 11.5 goals, a differential of plus 89.
Wow,
their
that's
power
great.
Play, powerful, 43%. Penalty kill, 67%. Now for the Timbermen, they had their biggest streak was a 2-game losing streak.
Right.
Their average goals, 8.7. Goal differential, minus 16. Power play, 25%. But this is a surprising part. Penalty kill, 64%. And their top scorer was Noah Manning. He had 28 goals and 40 assists. He's a former junior Shamrock and a former Coquitlam Adanac.
Okay.
Andrew Bowman had a really good year. But Noah Manning, no penalty minutes. Andrew Bowman, 28 goals, 33 assists, and 61 points, 6 penalty minutes. Matt Boaz, 16 goals, 26 assists, and 42 points. And again, no penalty minutes.
Okay.
Colton Lidstone was a surprise because he's a transition player. He's been with them a long time. He got 14 goals and 23 assists and 10 penalty minutes. So those that's the start of it, the look of it. But it doesn't tell the whole story, because Ryan Sheridan didn't play a whole season. If he had have, I'm sure they could have got more wins. He had 6 goals and 11. Pardon me. Yeah, he had 6 goals and 11 assists.
Okay.
Pardon me. I got this a little screwed up here. He played 6 games. He got 11 goals and 8 assists for 19 points and only 2 penalty minutes.
Okay.
Now, Victoria, their top scorer, of course, won the scoring race. Zach Mans, former Timberman, 45 goals and 45 assists for 90 points. Marshall King, 36 goals and 40 assists for 76 points. Patrick Dodds, he got 40 assists. I couldn't find it. I searched for his goals, but I couldn't find them. The last game of the season was incredible for Chris Allegrieri. There's, shutouts are really rare in lacrosse. And he had almost a shutout. It was 6-1. They beat the Bellies. The Toronto goalie who played in Coquitlam, Nick, what was his name?
Nick Rose.
Nick Rose. He only let in 1 goal, way back. I remember that. Now, Chris Allegrieri is the top goalkeeper.
Yeah.
This year, 14 wins, 0.874 save percentage, 5.6 goals against average. And yet they have an insurance in getting Frank Scigliano in case anything happens to Chris, because Adam Bland didn't play as many games.
Right. We've said that before too, that obviously with a player like Frank Scigliano, obviously the goaltender for the Saskatchewan Rush in the LLL season, that he's moved around a few times, right? Because he was in New West last year, obviously when New West was making their push for the Mann Cup. New West, not anywhere close this season. And obviously I had reached out to a few contacts of mine, including Brad Minsky, who was on the show talking Vancouver Warriors during the season. The Bellies finished this year at 6-12, didn't make the playoffs, finished behind the Timbermen. And so, quite a different Bellies team this year, right? They lost that final game to Victoria 6-1. Didn't qualify for the postseason. But one of the things I said to you too, and I said to someone else too, just flipping over to the standings for the Major Lacrosse League, which is in Ontario, and the Mann Cup will be in Ontario this year as it alternates back and forth between a WLA team hosting it and a team from the Major Lacrosse League in Ontario hosting it. The Six Nations Chiefs, once again, after their 3 straight titles where they beat New West twice, obviously last year and in 2023, and Victoria in 2024, they are the top team in that league with most goals for 211, best goals against 94, and points 32. So they got a goal differential of 117, the Chiefs do. So I wanted to throw a few Chiefs stats in there, and we were kind of joking about how, is it just going to be another case where whoever comes out of the WLA has earned the right to get beat by the Chiefs in the playoffs, right? I mean, obviously, 3 straight Mann Cup wins for them, and people often say they're buying that team, right? Or they're just they've stacked that team so deep that it's going to be tough for anybody to beat the Six Nations Chiefs, right? Because
1986 was the last time, and the Salmon Bellies went to win in the East,
right?
For the Western team to win in the East,
right? So it looks like, and just looking a little bit here at the schedule on the website, starting August the 4th, August the 4th, it'll be the Cobourg Kodiaks who take on the Six Nations Chiefs for a first round playoff. So we'll see how that one transpires, but I'm not holding out much hope that anybody but Six Nations is coming out of the Major Lacrosse League to host the Mann Cup.
So I got some more on the Nanaimo Victoria series.
Okay.
The Rocks have a habit of scoring goals in a row. They scored 4 goals in a row at the end of the first and second period in a recent game. Colby Bowman has won all their games this year, and he won all their games last year, but that was 2, for the Timber.
Right.
He's got save percentage of .822, and he had 8 wins. Goals against average of 8.86. He would have to play way above what he's been doing. I mean, it is possible, but that team is so strong. I'm not a betting person. I wouldn't bet against the Shamrocks, that's for sure,
Right.
because they're really strong. They have to play a solid defense, and they'd have to key on Zach Mans because he comes up with the points. That's for sure. So the keys are they're both strong in goal. They have a backup in Devlin Shanahan, who used to be number 1 for the Timbermen. The Rocks are strong scoring and in their power play and their penalty kill. The team are weak in their power play and they're strong in their penalty kill at 64%. If the Timbermen turn it up strong, defense, improve goal scoring, I see it going 5 games with the Rocks winning 3 games to 2. And I can see these games because the pattern is they've been close all year. And I don't think the Timbermen have had a really bad blowout game. They lost by 5 goals. I don't consider that really bad. They lost by 5 goals to Victoria earlier in the year.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Any questions about all that?
I'm trying to think because I've been flashing up some stuff while you're talking to show some graphics about what's been happening, obviously, with the Shamrocks and the Timbermen. And so I shared this one on the first team All-Stars. Having a look here, obviously, we got Marshall King and Zach Mans and Chris Areguilieri. This is on the Golden V podcast Instagram account. And I'm assuming that Jacob Hickey also plays for the Shamrocks.
Well, it looks like a Shamrocks uniform.
Yeah, and then Jackson Fridge, obviously, from the Burnaby Lakers. Marcus Claret, you're going to talk a little bit more from the Maple Ridge Burrards. Sean Kurikon, who's obviously on defense, first team All-Star for the Coquitlam Adnaks. And so, as for questions, I think you pretty much laid it all out there in terms of who's going to win and what the stats are going to be like. So I'll dive in a little bit into the Burrards and Adnaks, and that series starts this Wednesday, August 5th, in Maple Ridge at Cam Neely Arena, obviously, and I'm going to throw these in the chat here. The 5 games to run up until Thursday, August 13th, right? And so there's a 5-game series, as we know, and then it moves to the WLA final. I'm just going to throw those in. So game 1 in Maple Ridge, game 2 this Friday in Coquitlam, and then game 3 in Maple Ridge on Sunday at Cam Neely Arena. Obviously, games 4 and 5 are, if necessary, and this is kind of important to share. It's on the WLA website. The winners of each best of 5 semifinal series will advance to the WLA finals, a best of 7 series to determine the WLA champion. As I mentioned this already, obviously the Man Cup Championship will start on Friday, September the 11th. Kind of a shame it won't be with a WLA team like this year, like it was last year against New Westminster, because that was a phenomenal 7-game series that we saw there at Queen's Park Arena, right? I thought this was interesting too. Playoff overtime rules in effect, meaning that if a game is tied after regulation time, there will be a 5-minute break followed by a 10-minute sudden victory.
Oh, good. Yes.
That's
better because they were playing the full 10 minutes in the regular season.
Right. If the game is still tied, there would be an additional 5-minute intermission followed by a 10-minute sudden death victory.
Oh, I correct myself. They didn't play the full 10 minutes, but they had in other years.
Right. And so let's move. Obviously, we're going to share a little bit more here about each team. And one of the things that really stood out to me, Vancouver Warriors fans are going to know this one really well, was the play of Marcus Claret this season in a Warriors uniform, and how well he's parlayed that into his play in the WLA for the Maple Ridge Burrards, right? Because, he finishes the season, and looking at my stats here, he was a second behind Zach Mans, obviously. He was second behind Zach Mans, but he finished the season with 85 points. And I remember Kurt Malosky talking to some of his post-game interviews throughout the season, how much Marcus had improved and things that Marcus was doing, playing for the Warriors, and the way he stepped it up in some of the games we saw at home this season, and then to see his performance. I didn't actually see any of his games in the WLA this year. I wish I had, because he he it's just sometimes it's too tough to get to Maple Ridge, but he had 51 points, obviously, when he played for the Warriors, and then had that phenomenal season this season for the Burrards. The next highest player was with 63 points is Tyler Pace, and then Peyton Cormier with 43 points. So there's some names there you recognize from Warriors teams and in the NLL in the past, right? Obviously, Riley Lone's there as well.
Yeah.
For the Burrards. Looking down a little bit here, just trying to see who else is on this team. Now, goalie-wise, it was Jack Kask who won the Rookie of the Year in the WLA, right? So he was the Rookie of the Year in the WLA. He had a 10-4 record, and then obviously Brandon Humphrey played 3 games with 3 wins, but 7.75 goals against, save percentage of .833, 7 assists as well. So
7 assists. Wow.
Yeah. So Jack Kask gets nominated as the Rookie of the Year in the WLA, obviously providing strong goaltending for the Burrards. And in looking at the Burrards too, you mentioned goal differential, plus 32 goal differential, power play 41%, penalty kill 65%, goals for average 9.8. So some interesting things to note about the Burrards. Obviously, it's more than just Claridge, but it's pretty interesting. And then obviously we flip over to the other side of the coin, and we've talked about this so much, and we know this quite well. Obviously, the play of Christian Del Bianco for the Coquitlam Adanacs. He is a second-team All-Star this year, finishes 9 wins and 5 losses, 535 saves, and 84.5 save percentage. So that's Christian obviously anchors that goaltending for that team. But Defender of the Year in the WLA went to Sean Krywakon, who's obviously the team's best defender, but it's not someone that I'm super familiar with.
No, I haven't heard that name before.
So that's someone new to me. But looking at the Adanacs roster, who do I recognize? Well, Robert Church. Big one obviously here is Remy Shinato, who's recently re-signed by the Vancouver Warriors as well. And so then we've got Ethan Ticehurst. But here's a little bit more on Sean Krywakon. But I don't know if he's been drafted by anybody. He played for the Bellies in the 2024 season. Obviously in the playoffs. But yeah, let's flip it over a little bit more here too. A couple other mentions for Maple Ridge. Reese Blake from the Maple Ridge Burrards defense, and Tyler Pace from the Maple Ridge Burrards made the WLA All-Star teams as well. I can pull those up here. They're both second-team selections, Reese Blake and Tyler Pace. And obviously Christian was a second-team All-Star selection for the Adanacs, as I said. The Burrards won the season series 2-1. And so I got to believe maybe a little bit that the Maple Ridge Burrards hold the edge in that series. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't really have a series prediction. I did a lot of research, but it's tough because I didn't get to see these teams play each other this year. We saw New West, we saw Nanaimo, we saw Burnaby. Because Burnaby and New West are so close to us geographically, right? It's hard unless you want to take a trip to the island to go see Victoria.
Well, I did for the opening.
That's right, you did. That's good that I brought that up. So
yeah,
you saw Victoria.
He kept it close. It was 9-4, and
right.
I think it was. They didn't score a goal, and the Coquitlam team did not score a goal in the third period. They got beat badly, and yet they came back the next night and played at home against the Salmon Bellies and killed them. It was a big score.
Yeah, that was an interesting season, right? Like the Langley Thunder and the Salmon Bellies didn't do very well.
No. And Burnaby was surprising because they won. The game they lost to that I saw was 10-8 for Nanaimo over Burnaby.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a good game. Because there's a couple guys from Burnaby who obviously made the All-Star team too, right? I mean, I'm just looking at it here. Who was it? We mentioned it. It was Jackson Fridge who made it for the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
But the Lakers, it's too bad. It seemed like the crowd was getting better the games we went to there later on in the season, right? It was just a question of I think we talked to them once about the team having a lot of injuries. But it'd be nice to see Burnaby make the playoffs. We'll see how they do again next year.
Yeah, they haven't been in the playoffs in a long time.
Yeah. Now, did you have any final things to add on the Victoria and Nanaimo series?
Let me just make sure. Yeah, Adam Bland didn't get much playing time this year because Chris had 14 wins, and that's four other games he would have played. And what have you got there for how many losses they had this year?
Who?
The Shamrocks.
They only had 2.
Only 2. Okay.
They had 2 against the Burrards 5, and then the Adanac 6. That's pretty close. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll try and watch that series because it seems like that one might be closer than Nanaimo and Victoria, but who knows, right?
Yeah, well, playoffs is a different game altogether. I mean, you have to come out for the kill right away. Yeah.
Yeah. I would be interested to see how Victoria does that. And I think the other thing we also talked about was trying to tune in and figure out how to watch it, right?
Oh, the WLA play for fun thing that they have on there.
Yeah, well, no, I was trying to find the way to watch the games on TV, but I don't know if there is any way.
Oh, I don't think they come on TV. They come on your computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Any final pieces before we wrap it up?
Well, it's a great improvement from last year. Only 2 wins to 4 times up to 8. So that franchise is doing much better. That's for sure. And they had close games where they lost by a goal or 2. So they could even be more.
Yeah, I was looking at last year that it was the Adanacs who finished first and the Salmon Valley second. The Shamrocks were third.
Yeah.
And the Shamrocks had 13 wins last year. Well, New West was good last year, 14-4, and then 15-2 for the Adanacs.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a shift. I mean, I think the shift is really New West not doing much, but I mean, Victoria and Coquitlam were right there last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And the Timbermen were last, so they dropped.
Yeah, they didn't have many returning players. I think Will Malcolm was the only returning player that I could think of.
Right.
Team the year before for the Salmon Bellies.
Okay. All right, let's wrap it up there. That was a good WLA Western Lacrosse Association 2026 playoff breakdown. We'll talk to everyone soon. Thanks for joining in, Earl.
Okay, thanks for having me. See you later.